Okay, we are now recording. So I'm just going to go quickly through this, through gold leafing of a 3D printed part. And now the other little part that I brought up as a sample is not here. Did I drop it? Yes, I did. Ha! And not only dropped it, I ran over it with my chair. So now we have two little pieces. We'll probably just use the big one. So gold leaf isn't that expensive, especially because, you know, generally it's not real. If for these kind of situations, you can get real gold leaf. It is, believe it or not, I mean, compared to what it usually costs to buy gold, it's not that expensive because it is so very thin. And really, you take just such a small amount of gold and it stretches it so far. So I bought it online. I bought it in craft stores. Here's one here. I like this one set that I have that is, it's several different metal leaf. This is a speedball setup. This one's gold. But I think that I got one that was like, it's copper, and here we go. This is not gold leaf. This is more like copper, which is really kind of fun. But they all work the same. But what I'm saying is you don't have to leave yourself with just one.
Is the copper leaf like a different like consistency, or are they all kind of like the same?
They all
like
act,
consistency.
Yeah, they all act the same.
Okay.
Which is, you can't really handle this stuff with your fingers. You must get a nice brush. It doesn't have to be a really, really good brush, but the main thing that I like to have about that brush is it's got to be kind of fluffy. And you don't, so the first thing you do before you get to dealing with the metal leaf is you have to put size on it. It's called adhesive size, and it is, it comes in jars. It comes in spray. Okay, and it also comes in, I actually found an adhesive size pen. And with the pen, you can be very selective about the area that is going to be leafed, and you can have it next to an area that is not leafed. So when you do gold leafing, you don't have to have it be over every single bit of your surface. It's not like you have to, you know, dip it in and coat everything. You can be very selective if you like about what gets, about where the leaf is going to go. But basically you're using this stuff and it's kind of a little bit like rubber cement. I'm going to shake it up really well. I like, to be honest, my favorite is still just the old stuff that you put on with the brush. And I'm going to, I haven't had this off in a while, so it's going to take a little, there we go. It, like I said, it reminds me of rubber cement, or another thing that, you know, if you guys have ever used like watercolor, that stuff, you know, to oh my goodness, what is it called? It's the stuff you use to masking fluid. You mask the watercolors. It feels like that, in that it's it's kind of like a rubbery, plasticky thing. But so what you do is you just coat your piece in the size, and here's where I should have done this like a little while ago before class started. That's when I was running around trying to find all my pieces. So I'm just going to do the end of this. I'm going to leave this spot clean so I can just hold it there. And I'm just going to set that down. I am also going to take this piece where I have all these supports, and I'm also going to do part of that, just because I want you to see how fun this can be. And you're probably looking at that going, oh my gosh, that's crazy. How are you going to get the gold leaf on all those little pieces, right? But once the size starts to dry, and that's one of the things that we have to wait for. We have to wait a few minutes for the size to get tacky. Because while it's wet, it doesn't stick. It will, if you can't put the leaf on while it is wet. All right. And I'm just going to do a little bit there. I've always wanted to try this on one of these support materials. That's why this piece has been sitting around on my bench for a while. So, you know, I'm always happy to show you guys stuff. Okay. All right, so I'm going to let that sit for a minute. All right. One thing that is important that I did not do is bring over some water so that this so that the size doesn't dry on this brush. So I'm going to pause this recording for a minute, and I shall be right back. Okay, we can resume here. I'm just going to get this brush nice and clean. Whenever you're working with anything, dye, paint, finishes, keeping your brushes clean is a great idea, because if you invest in good brushes, you really want to have them last as long as you can. So let's see, I'm looking at this like in the light. It's still a little bit, yeah, it's almost there. I put on a real thin layer. You don't want to really slather it on. You want to have it nice and thin. Because if you don't get everything on it, you can actually go back over. And let's see what we got here. It's almost ready. Any other questions in the meantime? Yeah, the copper leaf's kind of fun because it looks sort of pinkish. I don't know how well this light is doing here. All right, we are almost there. It takes a few minutes. That's still a little bit wet. It dries, but once it's dry, in the meantime, we'll get our pieces together. So I usually rip, I'll take this and I'll just kind of rip it a little. You can cut it, but as soon as your fingers touch it, you see how it's just coming apart. Like that whole piece just came off by my fingers just touching it. And I don't have anything sticky or anything on my fingers. So these are really delicate, but the best way to pick up a piece is rub your, just use your brush and kind of build up this little static charge. And then you just have to touch it with your brush. This piece might be too big. All right, there we go. And that's what it does. You just get a little bit of static on your brush. That's why this brush always has to stay clean. Never ever use this brush. This is my leafing brush. I actually keep this one with my stuff. And so, all right, we can probably start doing this. Now that's a really big piece. So I'm actually going to rip it down a little bit. All right. So you don't have to be exact with how you rip your leaf. Your leaf is going to go on in pieces. It does not have to go on as one big sheet. So I'm going to just pick this up and I'm going to hold it near and I'm just going to beat it down a little bit. Okay. And I don't know if you guys can see that. This isn't really great. I'm trying to get this refocused. So it's still not good. I do apologize. I'm trying to get this guy. There we are. Well, I thought, okay. See if I can figure out where it focuses. But so now you can see that there's extra. No, I'm going to focus this with this hand. Oh, I'm so sorry. There we go. It's a little better. There, no, that now we can see it a little better. And actually I'm touching this end too, and I can feel that it's pretty much ready to take the leaf. So there we go. That and there it is. And I'll bring this in on Monday so you can see it too. But I just wanted you guys to get a real quick look at this. And the this lighting is lousy. I'm so sorry. I'm realizing now that this is just not the best. This does have a okay. I think that'll do it. I also have a piece of gold leaf over here on this piece of plastic. I'm gonna go pull that piece off. Again, I'm gonna get my brush all staticky. Oh, that piece I started to tear away. So this is just this tiny, tiny little piece that is sticking to my thumb for no reason at all. So here's a piece of gold leaf. We can see the contrast here. And it was a little wrinkled when I put it down, but guess what? I can just like beat it down. And it will flatten out. It'll adhere to the surface exactly how the surface is. And if I miss a spot, I can always go back over and add more leaf over a spot where it was not. I need a better camera for this. So you see these spots on the edges that, over the edge where there's no adhesive, right? We could just totally rip those off and go and just pat them onto the other spots. This is a lot. It doesn't take a lot of practice, but you can see here how I have the two different, let me see if I have any silver like handy. I think I have a whole lot of silver leaf. Yeah, here we go. Here's a broken piece on here. All right, I'm gonna grab a tiny bit. Okay, and now it's all sticking to my fingers. Here's a piece of silver leaf. And again, what we want to do is we want to get the brush nice and staticky, and we're going to put the silver on the end here. Pull this and put that on there. Okay. And now let's try our see what we get on here. Okay. Try these little supports. Like I said, I've always wanted to do this. So see how it's the one big piece. Now, if I start patting it with the brush. Okay, there we go. That came out kind of fun. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm gonna try and pick up the rest of that gold here. I think I'm gonna leaf this whole thing and bring it in on Monday. What fun, huh? Okay, and let's grab some silver. All right, it does make a mess. Oh boy, does it make a mess, because you get all these little pieces, and if you breathe too hard, they will go across the room. This is why I don't usually do this at my main bench. It makes too much of a mess. And then I'm forever cleaning it up. And yeah, so we've got like different colored metals here. But that's pretty much it. Well, for the main part. So once I get this exactly how I want it, then we have a sealer. Where's the sealer? Oh, goodness. Ugh. All right, I forgot to bring the sealer up. The sealer is actually down in my workshop. But the sealer is kind of like, it's just like your basic fixative in a way. The leaf sealer does pretty much the same thing as you see, with a fixative. All right, I'm gonna grab that. We're gonna run down the inside here because I know I had some, But once you're finished with all the leafing, then you spray it with the sealer. Now, if I missed a spot and it didn't have size on it and it's not picking up any of the leaf, I can go back with the, I could open up the size and add more to it. But the most important thing is you have to let the size dry. Put it on in thin coats, let it dry, then you can just put the leaf right on top of it. All right. Yeah, that's what we got there. Any questions? We'll put that there.
Does the leaf come in anything, like any colors that aren't metal colors, or?
That's a good question. It might, because I can't say that I've ever noticed, but it would surprise me if, I mean, there's no reason that it couldn't.
Right.
Because the copper, I mean, I don't believe that these are actual, like, they're not necessarily these precious metals.
Okay.
So it is possible that you might want to check and see. I mean,
Cool.
you guys got great Google skills.
Yeah.
But that's a good question. But I know if not, then it's fun to use like the copper or the silver. They're fun. Any other questions? Okay, well then I'm gonna stop recording and we'll